20 minimalist rules you must follow to always have money. Live better with less. What if everything you've been told about building wealth is completely backward? Picture this. You're working harder than ever. Your closets are overflowing with clothes you never wear. Your home is packed with gadgets collecting dust. Your calendar is jammed with commitments that drain your soul. And somehow, you're always broke. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, your neighbor owns half as much stuff, works the same hours, but always seems to have money for what matters. Their secret isn't earning more. It's a radical approach that most people never consider. Here's what's crazy. The path to financial freedom isn't about adding more to your life. It's about strategically subtracting what's been quietly stealing your wealth, energy, and time. Every possession you don't need, every commitment that serves no purpose, every complexity that creates confusion. They're all financial vampires, bleeding you dry. I'm about to share 20 minimalist rules that can transform not just your bank account, but your entire relationship with money. And the 20th rule? It's the one that prevents everything from slowly sliding back into chaos. Hit subscribe and comment "Less is more" if you're ready to discover how subtraction creates addition in your financial life. What I'm about to say will challenge everything you believe about wealth. Rule 1. Eliminate toxic debts. Most people wonder why they work so hard but never get ahead financially. The answer is simple. They're carrying invisible chains that steal their strength before they even start building wealth. Let me tell you about a powerful giant who could lift mountains and move rivers. But one night, while he slept, tiny creatures crept up and wrapped thin threads around his arms and legs. When he woke, he tried to stand, but couldn't move. "These threads are so small," he laughed. "I'll break them easily." But here's what shocked him. There were thousands of threads. Each one was weak, but together they held him down completely. The more he struggled, the more energy he wasted. He spent all his strength fighting the threads instead of building his kingdom. This is exactly what high-interest credit cards, car loans, and unnecessary financing do to your money. Each debt seems manageable alone, but together they trap you. Every month, you send money to pay interest instead of building your future. The giant's freedom came when he stopped struggling and carefully cut each thread one by one. Your financial freedom starts the same way. Eliminate every toxic debt with laser focus. Pay off credit cards first, then car loans, then anything else that charges you to stay poor. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Rule 2. Simplify personal finances. Having money scattered across multiple accounts, cards, and apps doesn't make you sophisticated. It makes you confused and broke. There was once a farmer who dug 10 shallow wells across his land, thinking more wells meant more water. Each morning, he'd run from well to well, checking water levels, maintaining equipment, and trying to remember which one had the cleanest water. By noon, he was exhausted from managing all these wells, with barely any energy left for farming. His neighbor dug just one deep well in the center of his property. All his water came from one reliable source. He knew exactly how much he had, how much he used, and when he needed more. While the first farmer was still running around checking wells, the second farmer was growing crops and building wealth. Your finances work the same way. When you have money spread across 15 different accounts, 3 banks, 5 credit cards, and multiple investment apps, you lose track of everything. You forget payments, miss opportunities, and waste mental energy just trying to understand your own money. Simplify ruthlessly. 1 main checking account, 1 savings account, 1 or 2 credit cards are maximum. Automate everything possible. When you can see your entire financial picture in 5 minutes, you make better decisions and build wealth faster. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Rule 3. Plan purchases in advance. Most people lose money not because they don't earn enough, but because they buy things without thinking. Every impulse purchase is money thrown away that could have built their future. Picture 2 hunters in the same forest. The first hunter sees movement and immediately shoots his arrows at everything: birds, shadows, rustling leaves. By midday, his quiver is empty. He's exhausted, and he's caught nothing. He returns home hungry, with nothing to show for his effort. The second hunter moves quietly through the forest, studying tracks, understanding animal patterns, and waiting for the perfect moment. When he finally shoots, it's deliberate and precise. He returns home with enough meat to feed his family for weeks. Your wallet is your quiver, and every purchase is an arrow. When you buy on impulse, that gadget you saw online, those shoes that caught your eye, that subscription you signed up for in excitement, you're shooting arrows at shadows. Planning purchases means writing down what you want, waiting 24 to 48 hours, researching alternatives, and asking yourself, will this solve a real problem or just satisfy a temporary feeling? The money you save from avoided impulse purchases becomes the foundation for real wealth building. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Leave fear. Use waiting list for desires. Not every desire needs to become immediate action. Most of what you think you need right now will feel completely unnecessary in 30 days. There was once a merchant who visited the marketplace every day. Each time he saw something appealing, exotic spices, beautiful fabrics, clever tools, he bought it immediately. I might need this someday, he'd tell himself. His home was filled with objects he'd used once or never touched. His money disappeared, but his happiness didn't increase. His wise neighbor also visited the marketplace, but with a different approach. When something caught his eye, he'd write it down in a small notebook and walk away. 30 days later, he'd review his list. Most items no longer seemed important. The few that still felt essential, he'd buy with confidence, knowing they served a real purpose. The first merchant was a slave to his impulses. The second was the master of his desires. Your waiting list works the same way. When you want something, write it down with the date. Wait 30 days. If you still want it and it serves a genuine purpose, buy it. Most desires will fade away, saving you money and space. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Rule 5. Invest in quality, not quantity. Cheap things cost more in the long run. When you buy something that breaks, wears out, or disappoints you quickly, you end up paying twice, once for the item and again to replace it. Two carpenters started their businesses on the same day. The first bought the cheapest tools he could find, a $20 hammer, $15 saw, $10 screwdriver set. I'm saving so much money, he celebrated. Within 6 months, his hammer head flew off, his saw blade bent, and his screwdrivers stripped. He spent his profits replacing broken tools, and clients complained about his sloppy work. The second carpenter invested in professional-grade tools, an $80 hammer, $60 saw, $40 screwdriver set. This is expensive, he worried initially. 5 years later, his tools still worked perfectly. His craftsmanship was excellent, clients recommended him, and his business thrived. The cheap carpenter actually spent more money and earned less. The expensive carpenter spent once and built wealth. This applies to everything: clothes that last, appliances that don't break, cars that run reliably. Quality items serve you longer, perform better, and often cost less per year of use than cheap alternatives. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss the last detail about creating the right environment. Rule 6. Keep home simple. Your environment controls your mind more than you realize. A cluttered, chaotic home creates a cluttered, chaotic mindset that leads to poor financial decisions. Two blacksmiths worked in the same village. The first filled his workshop with every tool, scrap metal, and project he'd ever started. Hammers lay buried under old horseshoes. Important blueprints mixed with random sketches. He spent hours searching for basic tools and constantly felt overwhelmed. His work suffered, clients left, and his income dropped. The second blacksmith kept his workshop spotless. Every tool had its place. Work surfaces stayed clear. Important documents were filed properly. When clients visited, they saw professionalism and order. He worked efficiently, completed projects faster, and earned their trust and money. The cluttered blacksmith's chaos infected his thinking. He made impulsive decisions, forgot important details, and felt constantly stressed. The organized blacksmith's clear environment supported clear thinking and better choices. Your home works the same way. When every surface is covered with stuff, every drawer is jammed with junk, and every room feels chaotic, your brain operates in survival mode instead of success mode. Clear surfaces, organized spaces, and minimal distractions create mental clarity that improves every decision you make, especially financial ones. Wait. The most important part is in the following story. Rule 7. Functional wardrobe. Every morning, you make dozens of decisions, and each one drains your mental energy. Choosing what to wear shouldn't be one of those energy-wasting decisions. Two soldiers served in the same army. The first collected uniforms from different regiments, various boots for different occasions, and multiple accessories for different ranks. Each morning, he stood before his overflowing closet, paralyzed by choices. Should I wear the blue jacket or the green one? These boots or those? This belt or that one? By the time he finished dressing, he was already mentally exhausted and late for duty. The second soldier owned just 3 identical uniforms, 2 pairs of boots, and basic accessories. Every morning, he dressed in 2 minutes without thinking. His energy stayed fresh for important battles and strategic decisions. His reputation for reliability and sharp thinking earned him rapid promotions. The first soldier's complicated wardrobe stole his mental power every day. The second soldier's simple system preserved his energy for what mattered. Build a functional wardrobe. Clothes that match everything, fit your lifestyle, and work for most situations. Choose quality basics over trendy pieces. When getting dressed requires no thought, you start each day with full mental energy for important decisions. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Rule 8. Limit information intake. Information overload is the new poverty. When your mind is constantly flooded with news, opinions, and random content, you lose the ability to think clearly and make good decisions. 2 scholars lived in the same city. The first read every newspaper, watched every news channel, and scrolled through endless social media feeds. "I must stay informed about everything," he declared. His mind became a chaotic library of disconnected facts, conflicting opinions, and useless trivia. When important decisions arose, he felt paralyzed by information overload and couldn't think clearly. The second scholar carefully chose 3 trusted sources and read them intentionally. He avoided random content and idle browsing. His mind stayed sharp and focused. When opportunities appeared, he could think quickly and act decisively. The first scholar confused being busy with being informed. The second scholar understood that quality beats quantity. Your brain has limited capacity. Every piece of junk information you consume takes space away from valuable thoughts. Limit your information diet to what actually helps you grow, earn more, or make better decisions. Choose reliable sources, read with purpose, and avoid mindless scrolling. A focused mind makes better financial choices than a cluttered one. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Rule 9. Reduce tech dependencies. Technology should serve you, not control you. When you become dependent on apps, notifications, and digital crutches, you lose your ability to function independently and think clearly. 2 fishermen worked the same waters. The first bought every new gadget: GPS systems, fish finders, weather apps, and automatic reels. He spent more time managing his technology than actually fishing. When his battery died or his GPS failed, he sat helplessly in his boat, unable to navigate or find fish. His expensive equipment ate into his profits. The second fisherman learned to read wind patterns, understand water currents, and recognize fish behavior. He used basic tools but knew his craft deeply. When storms knocked out cell towers, he still caught fish and found his way home. His low-tech approach meant higher profits and genuine skill. The first fisherman was a slave to his gadgets. The second was a master of his trade. Turn off non-essential notifications. Set specific times for checking phones and social media. Learn to do important tasks without digital assistance. When you're not constantly interrupted by pings and alerts, you think more clearly and waste less money on unnecessary tech upgrades. All of the above will be meaningless. If you miss this detail about protecting your time, Rule 10, reduce empty social commitments. Your time is more valuable than gold because you can't make more of it. Every empty social commitment steals hours you could use to build wealth, learn skills, or rest your mind. Two merchants worked in the same marketplace. The first said yes to every social invitation, boring dinner parties, meaningless meetings, events where he knew no one. "I don't want to seem rude," he explained. His evenings disappeared into small talk with strangers. He came home exhausted, with no energy for planning his business or developing new products. The second merchant carefully chose his social activities. He attended events that connected him with valuable contacts or brought genuine enjoyment. He politely declined everything else. His selective approach gave him energy for growing his business and spending quality time with people who mattered. The first merchant confused being busy socially with being successful. The second merchant protected his time like treasure. Learn to say no to invitations that don't serve your goals or bring real joy. Quality relationships beat quantity every time. One meaningful conversation is worth more than 10 superficial networking events. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Rule 11. Maintain high-value relationships. Having many acquaintances isn't the same as having wealth-building connections. Quality relationships create opportunities, while superficial ones just drain your energy and time. Two traders worked in the same market. The first knew hundreds of people. He chatted with everyone, exchanged pleasantries with casual acquaintances, and spent hours in meaningless conversations. He was popular but poor. When he needed business advice, a loan, or a partnership opportunity, none of his many friends could help him. The second trader cultivated relationships with just 5 people: a successful mentor, a reliable business partner, a skilled craftsman, a trustworthy financier, and one genuine friend. He invested time in these relationships, offered value, and built real trust. When opportunities arose, these 5 people opened doors, shared wisdom, and provided support that transformed his business. The first trader confused being liked with being valuable. The second trader understood that deep connections beat wide networks. Choose your relationships carefully. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, support your goals, and share valuable knowledge. Avoid energy vampires who only take and never give back. 5 high-quality relationships will build more wealth than 50 superficial ones. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. Rule 12. Control your mornings. How you start your day determines how you'll end it. Most people wake up reacting to other people's priorities instead of focusing on their own goals, which keeps them poor and scattered. 2 generals prepared for the same battle. The first woke up frantically checking messages from scouts, responding to every urgent report, and rushing to put out fires. By the time he reached the battlefield, he was already exhausted and reactive. His troops sensed his chaos and fought without clear direction. The second general woke up early, reviewed his strategy in silence, exercised to sharpen his mind, and planned his day with intention. When urgent messages arrived, he was calm and decisive. His troops followed a leader who was prepared and focused. The first general let urgency control his morning. The second general controlled his morning to master urgency. Create a morning routine that puts you in charge before the world demands your attention. Exercise, read something valuable, plan your priorities, or simply sit in silence. No phone for the first 30 minutes. No diving into emails or social media. When you own your morning, you own your day. When you own your day, you build wealth instead of just surviving. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Rule 13. Embrace routine. Most people think routine is boring, but smart people know routine is freedom. When your important actions become automatic, you don't waste mental energy on basic decisions. Two blacksmiths opened shops on the same street. The first approached each day differently. Sometimes he organized his tools, sometimes he didn't. Some days he started with difficult projects, other days with easy ones. He constantly decided what to do next, burning mental energy on simple choices. By noon, he was mentally tired and his work quality suffered. The second blacksmith created a simple routine. Every morning, organize tools, review the day's orders, start with the most challenging work while his mind is fresh, then handle easier tasks in the afternoon. His routine became automatic. He never wasted energy deciding what to do next. The first blacksmith confused variety with freedom. The second blacksmith understood that routine creates freedom from decision fatigue. Build routines for your most important activities: morning habits, work schedule, exercise, and financial planning. When good actions become automatic, you save mental energy for creative thinking and important decisions. Routine isn't a prison. It's the foundation that allows your mind to focus on what matters most. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Rule 14. Master your calendar. What isn't scheduled doesn't happen. If you don't plan your time intentionally, other people will fill it with their priorities, leaving you busy but broke. Two architects received identical projects to design magnificent buildings. The first worked without planning. He'd start whatever seemed urgent, switch tasks when distractions arose, and hope everything would come together eventually. His days were filled with meetings he hadn't planned, interruptions he couldn't control, and tasks that felt important but moved nothing forward. The second architect planned every day with precision. He scheduled focused work time, protected it fiercely, and said no to non-essential meetings. He knew exactly when to design, when to meet clients, and when to rest. While the first architect stayed busy but made little progress, the second completed his building ahead of schedule and under budget. The first architect let his calendar control him. The second architect controlled his calendar to build wealth. Schedule your most important tasks first: income-generating work, skill development, and financial planning. Protect this time like treasure. Everything else fits around your priorities, not the other way around. When you master your calendar, you master your life. When you master your life, you build the wealth you deserve. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss this detail about focus. Rule 15. Set annual priorities. Without clear priorities, you scatter your energy across dozens of goals and accomplish nothing significant. Focus creates wealth. Distraction creates poverty. Two farmers inherited identical plots of land. The first tried to grow everything: vegetables, fruits, grains, herbs, and flowers. "I want it all," he declared. He planted dozens of different crops but couldn't give proper attention to any of them. His scattered efforts produced mediocre results in everything. The second farmer chose 3 crops and mastered them completely. He studied their needs, perfected his techniques, and focused all his energy on excellence. His 3 crops flourished beyond imagination, earning him more money than his neighbor's dozen mediocre attempts. The first farmer confused being busy with being productive. The second farmer understood that depth beats breadth. Choose no more than 3 major financial goals each year. Maybe save $10,000, learn a high-income skill, and pay off debt. Ignore everything else until these are complete. When you focus your energy like a laser beam, you cut through obstacles that stop scattered people. Energy is limited. Waste it on too many goals and you'll achieve none of them. Focus on a few important ones and you'll transform your life. Do you think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Rule 16. Create energy reserves. You're not a machine. Ignoring your physical and mental limits leads to burnout, poor decisions, and financial mistakes that can take years to fix. 2 lumberjacks competed to cut the most wood. The first worked non-stop from dawn to dusk, never taking breaks, skipping meals, and sleeping only when exhausted. Initially, he cut more wood than his competitor. But as days passed, his swings became weaker, his aim got worse, and his productivity dropped dramatically. The second lumberjack worked in focused bursts, took regular breaks to sharpen his axe, ate proper meals, and got quality sleep. He seemed to work less, but his consistent energy and sharp tools made every swing count. By the end of the week, he had cut significantly more wood. The first lumberjack was confused, being busy with being productive. The second lumberjack understood that sustainable energy beats desperate effort. Protect your sleep, eat nutritious food, exercise regularly, and take real breaks. When your energy reserves are full, you make better financial decisions, work more efficiently, and avoid costly mistakes made from exhaustion. Working yourself into the ground doesn't build wealth. Working smartly with sustained energy does. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. Rule 17, rest with purpose. Most people think rest means watching TV or scrolling social media. Real rest recharges your mind and body for better performance, while fake rest leaves you more tired than before. Two warriors trained for the same important battle. The first spent his rest time watching entertainment, gossiping with others, and filling his mind with distractions. He called this relaxation, but his mind never truly recovered from training. When battle day arrived, he felt scattered and unfocused. The second warrior used rest time intentionally. He sat in silence, practiced deep breathing, walked in nature, and let his mind completely disconnect from stimulation. His rest actually restored his energy and sharpened his focus. On battle day, he was calm, alert, and victorious. The first warrior confused entertainment with recovery. The second warrior understood that intentional rest creates power. Real rest means unplugging from all inputs, no screens, no noise, no mental stimulation. Take walks without podcasts. Sit quietly without checking your phone. Let your mind process and recharge completely. When you rest with purpose, you return to work with fresh energy and clearer thinking. This leads to better financial decisions and more productive work sessions. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Rule 18. Practice emotional detachment. Keeping things just because they have sentimental value can become a financial prison. Memories live in your mind, not in objects, and clutter steals both space and money. Two brothers inherited their grandmother's house, filled with old furniture, photos, clothes, and trinkets. The first brother couldn't bear to part with anything. "This chair reminds me of Grandma's stories. These dishes were her favorites. I can't throw away her memory." His house became a museum of the past, cramped and expensive to maintain. The second brother honored his grandmother differently. He kept one meaningful photo and her favorite book, then sold or donated everything else. He used the money to invest in his future and turn the house into a comfortable, functional space. The first brother confused objects with memories. The second brother understood that love doesn't require clutter. Emotional attachment to things drains your finances through storage costs, maintenance, and missed opportunities. That expensive dress you wore once but can't sell because it was special, those books gathering dust because you might read them again, they're costing you money and space. Keep what truly serves you. Let go of everything else. Your memories will remain, but your wallet and living space will thank you. I'll tell you something that many people regret for the rest of their lives, just because they didn't realize it in time. Rule 19. Start with the basics. Before chasing complex strategies and advanced techniques, master the fundamentals. Most financial failures happen because people skip the basics and jump to complicated solutions. Two young soldiers wanted to become elite warriors. The first was impatient. He demanded advanced sword techniques, complicated battle strategies, and exotic weapons training. "Basic drills are boring," he complained. When real combat came, his flashy moves fell apart under pressure because his foundation was weak. The second soldier mastered the basics first: proper stance, basic footwork, fundamental strikes. He practiced these simple moves until they became automatic. When he finally learned advanced techniques, they built naturally on his solid foundation. In battle, his reliable basics kept him alive, while fancy fighters fell. The first soldier confused complexity with competence. The second soldier understood that mastery starts with fundamentals. Financial basics aren't exciting, but they work. Spend less than you earn, eliminate debt, save consistently, invest simply. Master these before chasing cryptocurrency, complex trading strategies, or get-rich-quick schemes. People who skip the basics often lose money on advanced strategies because they lack the foundation to succeed. Build your wealth on rock-solid fundamentals, not shifting sand. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss this final detail about maintaining your progress. Rule 20. Review life every 6 months. Life changes constantly, and what once served you can quietly become a burden again. Without regular reviews, clutter, bad habits, and wasted money creep back in like weeds in a garden. Two gardeners planted identical plots. The first gardener worked hard initially, planting, watering, and removing weeds. But once his garden looked good, he stopped paying attention. Slowly, weeds returned, diseased plants spread, and pests multiplied. Within a year, his garden was overgrown and unproductive. The second gardener scheduled regular maintenance. Every few months, he walked through his garden, removing new weeds, pruning overgrown plants, and replanting areas that weren't thriving. His garden stayed beautiful and productive year after year. The first gardener thought good work lasted forever. The second gardener understood that maintenance creates lasting results. Every 6 months, audit your life. Which subscriptions are you still using? What clothes haven't you worn? Which commitments no longer serve you? What expenses have crept back in? Set a calendar reminder. Spend 1 day reviewing your finances, possessions, and commitments. Cut what's unnecessary, keep what serves you, and make space for new opportunities. This simple review prevents years of accumulated waste and keeps your life aligned with your goals. Your minimalist transformation starts now. There you have it. 20 minimalist rules that prove the counterintuitive truth. You build wealth by subtracting, not adding. Every rule we covered today removes something that's been quietly stealing your money, time, or mental energy. From eliminating toxic debts to reviewing your life every 6 months, these aren't just organizational tips. They're wealth-building strategies disguised as simplicity. When you remove the noise, the signal becomes crystal clear. When you eliminate the clutter, the path to financial freedom emerges. Your homework. Choose one rule and commit to it for the next 7 days. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to implement everything at once. Sustainable change happens through focused action, not scattered effort. Which rule resonated most with your current situation? Drop a comment and let me know which area of your life needs the most decluttering. If this video shifted your perspective on wealth building, share it with someone who's drowning in excess. Remember, the richest life isn't the fullest one, it's the most intentional one. Start subtracting today.